He is the strongest hero on Earth. He is the first name the world thinks of when they hear the word superhero. And yet, when the Justice League is formed, when Earth's greatest defenders gather, Superman is not the one who leads them. Why? Welcome to the mystery of Superman's role in the League. The man who can move planets chooses not to move people. And the reason goes deeper than you might think. Before we unfold this secret, make sure you subscribe to our channel, because here, we dive into the untold truths of heroes, villains, and everything in between. Superman has always been a symbol. From his earliest days in Metropolis, people didn't look at him as a general, a tactician, or a commander. They looked at him as hope, a shining light, a reminder of what humanity could be at its very best. But here lies the paradox. The League doesn't need just hope. It needs direction. It needs strategy. It needs someone who can make the hard choices, choices that Superman would never want to make. Because Superman does not lead with orders. He leads with example. And there is a critical difference. Think about this. When Superman steps into a battle, he doesn't shout commands. He doesn't assign positions. Instead, his presence alone rallies the team. His morality, his unshakable will, his courage, these are his weapons of leadership. But they are not the tools of a commander. The other heroes know this too. Batman knows it. Wonder Woman knows it. They respect Superman. They look up to him. But when the time comes to plan a battle against threats like Darkseid or Brainiac, it's not Superman who maps the strategy. It's Batman. It's Wonder Woman. It's the tacticians. And Superman? He accepts this without hesitation. Because deep down, he doesn't want to tell others what to do. He doesn't want to command. He wants to inspire. It's the same reason soldiers rally behind a flag. Not because the flag gives orders, but because it gives meaning. Superman is that flag. The living standard of truth and justice. The man the League can always trust to be there, no matter the cost. But this role comes with a burden. If Superman were the leader, every decision he made would echo across the world. Every mistake could be seen as tyranny. Every command an order from a god. And that is something Superman fears above all else, becoming the very thing he fights against. He is not meant to be a ruler. He is meant to be a beacon. And this is why Superman never leads the Justice League. But the story doesn't end here. Because in the shadows of his refusal, another truth rises. The truth about power. And why even Superman knows he cannot trust himself with it. Superman has power beyond imagination. Strength to shatter mountains. Speed to outpace light. Vision to pierce worlds. And a willpower that seems unbreakable. But in that power lies the danger. Because history has shown us one terrifying truth. When someone with absolute strength takes control, it rarely ends well. That's the unspoken fear behind Superman's reluctance to lead. He knows the line between a leader and a dictator can vanish in an instant. And if Superman ever crossed it, even unintentionally, who could stop him? This is why he never places himself at the head of the table. He doesn't want to be the voice that decides the fate of nations. He doesn't want to be the one who says who lives and who dies. Because if that choice ever became his, hope would die with it. And yet, this doesn't mean Superman is weak. It means he understands the weight of his own existence. The others may not say it out loud, but they all feel it. The very presence of Superman makes the League stronger. Not because of strategy, but because when Superman fights beside you, you believe the impossible is possible. And that belief is sometimes greater than any command. Still, the world has seen versions of Superman who did take control. We've seen Injustice Superman, a man broken by tragedy who imposed order through fear. We've seen Kingdom Come Superman, a man who tried to rebuild the world in his image after chaos consumed it. And in each of these stories, one thing became clear. When Superman leads with power, the world trembles. When Superman leads with hope, the world thrives. That is the line he never dares to cross. And so, in the Justice League, he steps back. He lets Batman make the impossible plans. He lets Wonder Woman guide with her warrior wisdom. Because Superman knows his role is not to command. It is to remind them all why they fight in the first place. But here's the twist. Even though he avoids the throne of leadership in moments of crisis, when the League falters, when fear creeps into the strongest of heroes, they look at him. They wait for him to speak. And a single word from Superman often carries more weight than any order. Because Superman doesn't just lead. He inspires leadership in others. That is his true power. But what happens when that inspiration isn't enough? What happens when the League faces a threat so overwhelming that even hope feels small? In those moments, the question resurfaces, should Superman lead? And what would happen if he did? Superman never wears the crown. But make no mistake, he is the center of the Justice League. Think about it. When the League debates, it's Batman who speaks with logic. There's Wonder Woman who speaks with conviction. There's Green Lantern who speaks with willpower. But when Superman speaks, the room falls silent. Not because he demands it, but because every hero knows his words are carried by something greater than strategy or pride. They are carried by truth. Superman leads without leading. He guides without ordering. And he inspires without forcing. This is why, in every version of the League, he stands as the heart. Not the mind. Not the voice. But the heart that keeps the team human, even when they face gods and monsters. And yet, here's the paradox. Superman is the strongest being among them. But he is also the one most afraid of himself. Because deep down, Clark Kent still sees himself as a farm boy from Smallville, not a king, not a general. He fears that if he ever accepts the role of commander, his own morality might not survive the weight of that responsibility. And if he falls, he doesn't fall alone. The whole world falls with him. This is why leadership often shifts to Batman. Batman is willing to make the darkest choices, to sacrifice trust for survival, to carry the sins the others won't touch. And Superman respects that, because in his heart, he knows he cannot be both savior and judge. But here's the secret the League never says aloud. In the darkest nights, in the battles where everything is about to collapse, it is not Batman they look to. It is not Wonder Woman. It is Superman. Because when the dust clears, when death feels certain, only one figure rising from the rubble tells them that all is not lost. And that figure is Clark. Superman does not lead the Justice League in politics, in strategy, or in war. But he leads them in spirit. And spirit is often more powerful than command. That's the truth behind why Superman never takes the throne. It is not weakness. It is not fear. It is wisdom. He knows that a leader of the League must be human enough to decide. But Superman's gift is not decision. It is hope. And hope cannot be commanded. Can only be shared. So the answer is simple. Why doesn't Superman lead the Justice League? Because the League doesn't need a king. It doesn't need a general. It needs a symbol. And Superman is that symbol. A man who chooses to stand beside his friends, not above them. A man who knows that sometimes the greatest power is knowing when not to take control. And that is why, even without the title of leader, Superman will always remain the soul of the Justice League. But here's the question we leave with. If the day ever comes when hope alone isn't enough, if the League faces a threat so vast that even Superman's light begins to dim, would he finally step into the role he has avoided his entire life? And if he did, would the world be saved, or would it finally learn to fear the Man of Steel?